And here we are. Welcome once again, viewers and listeners, to another episode of Life, Love, and Conservation with Carolyn Hennesy. I am your conservation host, Carolyn Hennesy. Welcome again to the Flophouse. I've decided to leave the one of the French doors open today so that the animals can kind of come and go as they please, and also so that this room, again, is not the surface of the sun because it's hot. And I didn't build in air conditioning when I refurbished this room. So the door is open. We are brought to you once again by Wineville aloe-based products, and we're featuring this week. Here we go. Where is it? I'm turning it. This is the mango. This is the Aloe Select Mango, and it's a digestive health formula. Kids, trust me when I say that as you get older, you're going to need something like this, as I do, because stuff just doesn't kind of move as easily and quickly when you get into mid and later life. So, you know, the fried foods, the dairy, you can't eat it all. You can't eat the candy. You can't eat the sugar the way you used to be able to. And if you've ever been in a multi-stalled bathroom and someone down the line is, having explosive whatever, trust me, that's going to be you one day. So you can laugh all you want now, but unless you get something like this, that's going to be you. Just understand that. So thank you, Wineville, for continuing to sponsor the show. And again, this week's product is Aloe Select Mango. It's the digestive health formula. You can see the seal has been broken because I've been using it. And it helps. Trust me, it does. So producer Eric, where are you today? Are you here?
Yes,
Hello?
I am. I'm right here.
Hello, producer Eric. How are you?
Oh, I am great.
Did you have 3 kickball games today?
I did have 3 kickball games today. That's why I'm feeling very well kissed by the sun right now. So.
You're feeling kissed by the sun. Did you
Yes.
use sunscreen? Did you use 50 waterproof sunscreen?
No, I did not.
Okay. You know what? Never mind. I can't talk to you.
No, I know. You and my husband.
So here's the thing. Here's what I realized watching last week's show, the latest episode, that I went all through the makeup process and then said that I was going to show everyone what I looked like after the makeup process, and then we never did. So put up that photo, Eric. And so this is, yes, that's me. Shadows. We want shadows. And a wonderful actor named Will Roberts, who plays my brother in the film, among other things. Anyway, and that's me after the makeup, the hair and makeup people, also known as the Vanities people. That's what they call it in show business, the Vanities. After they had gotten through with me, Allie and Kylie, God bless them. So yeah, looking different, as they say. So anyway, that's me. All right, so producer Eric and I were talking about what should the life segment be about today. And it's interesting that we're still kind of in, at the tail end of the whole Wineville experience, because Wineville, as most of you know, is a decrepit horror film. It's wonderful. It's twisted in the most sinister of ways. I won't give you my log line because that'll ruin it, but it's very twisted. It's very, very twisted. And I was during filming one day. I was they put us up in the delightful Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Ontario, and most of the cast was there. And one day I come down for breakfast, and the young man, Casey King, who plays my grandnephew, it's a mess. He was sitting at breakfast, and so I joined him, and he looks at me and he says, how do we go to these incredibly dark places, and how do you come back? And it was a really interesting question, because he's not a green actor, but he's a young actor. He's done stuff, so he's not totally new, but he hasn't been doing it that long. I said, well, it's interesting. I said, and there's a very simple answer to it. And I prefaced it by saying, have you ever read any of the Marquis de Sade? And he kind of, his eyes go wide and he looks and he goes, no. And I said, well, you should. Because in and amongst all, because I have, and I said, in and amongst all of the really awful things that happen to nice people in the writings of the Marquis de Sade, Justine, etc. I said, there is one critical truth that is, once you hear it, you actually don't need to read any of the Marquis de Sade. If you hear it and you ingest it, and that is that once you understand and fully accept that we all have a dark side, we are all dark and light, we are all black and white, simple as that. Once you understand that you have the dark side, playing, doors open, what are you going to do? If you accept it, then you can go there and understand that you're just kind of looking at aspects of yourself that as actors we get to bring to light and we get paid for it. Now, other individuals who understand that we have the dark and the light, they can manage it so they don't go home and kick the dog. They don't scream at a coworker. They don't go out and do nefarious and sinister things because they understand their demons. They know them. They take them out to dinner. They go out to a movie and they've put them on the shelf where they need to be. It's when we do not accept that we have a dark side that we get into serious trouble. And not that he was in serious trouble. Well, he was kind of with the country. But anyway, my first example of that is Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, the president. Kids, if you don't know who Jimmy Carter is, look him up. But I was very young, and I recall Jimmy Carter saying, yes, I have lusted after other women than my wife in my head. And he was devastated by that. It really weighed on him. And once I understood that, yes, we have to accept that dark side. We don't let it out because we understand it. It's when we don't understand it and accept it that it comes out in awful, awful ways. And I thought, well, poor Jimmy Carter, he just doesn't get that it's okay. It's okay. There's a wonderful tenet in Judaism, and that it's essentially saying your character is not what you're thinking. It's how you behave. It's how you act. And that to me is one of the actual building blocks of a good sterling character. It's how you act. You might not want to do something, but you do it anyway because it's the thing that needs to be done. So when we have those dark sides, understand them, and then you don't have to act on them. So that's my life. And again, this is all from my perspective. But if you want an interesting experience, go read some of the Marquis de Sade, because this is quintessential. It is a basic human fact. It's a basic human tenet and truth. We all have it. Understand it, and then you can compartmentalize it, and you can take it out and look at it when you want to. But you don't ever have to act on it. So feel better about what you might be thinking as long as you don't act on it. And that's I said to Casey King. I said, that's how I can do it, because I understand it. I can go there, but I'm not going there. First of all, my character is going there. So the actors can fully understand that, yeah, we can do this. And it can be intensely interesting and somewhat fun in a really twisted way. And then you get a paycheck. So anyway, that's the dark and the light. That's how we go there, and that's how we come back. So there. All right. And it's a lot of fun. Producer Eric.
You rang.
I did ring because today we're going to have producer Eric throw a love topic at me.
Yes.
And I have no idea what it is. So it's gonna be fascinating.
I am so excited. This is like quasi-serious in a sense. So I want to talk about first loves. So one of my nieces who she's 18 now, and she's about to go off to college, and she's entering the adult world and started dating and adult things, and it got me thinking a lot about first loves. And you and I now being mature adults that we are, I would just began reflecting back, and one of the things I thought is like, you grew up in a pretty crazy environment in a sense there in Southern California, and I guess if you could go back and if you were to give advice on anyone who's really starting to enter the dating scene, what initially would be your advice on how would you go about it?
Wow. Well, here's the thing. It's a lesson in a way that can only be learned through experience. And your niece at 18, I mean, come on, let's face it, 18-year-olds, they think they can go off to war, but most of them, don't know how to tie their shoes, for God's sakes. Do you know what I mean? It's like they have precious little life experience. So for me to say, but it is the God's honest truth. And if I could bottle this and impart it to every youngster.
Yeah.
Because believe me, if you're 40, to me, you're a youngster. I would say know your boundaries, know your limits, know what you will take and what you will not. Know what you will stand for in terms of a love relationship, and what you think you might be able to suffer through. Does that make sense? In other words, but here's the thing: they're relatively unformed at 18 when you are getting into the dating pool. So you don't know. You're out there. You're testing your boundaries. You don't know what they are yet. But I would say if you can sit down and like make a list of what you will not accept. You will not accept physical abuse. You will not accept sexual abuse. You will not accept dishonesty. That's actually really, that in and of itself is the cornerstone. If you, again, when you're 18, oh my gosh, you're putting on your best self for the person sitting across from you. You're just, it's like, oh, do you like that? I like that too. Or, have you ever heard of Rachmaninoff? Oh yeah. Whatever it is, because if you lie, you will get caught. Period. Yeah. You will always get caught.
Always.
So I would say to anyone starting out, if you don't know what your boundaries are yet, that's cool. But be as honest as it is characteristically, physically, humanly, mentally, psychologically, spiritually possible for you to be. As honest as you can be. If somebody says they love something and it goes against your grain, it's like, oh my gosh, you love this? I don't like that at all. First of all, you got to understand that if this person loves that and you don't, for whatever reason, they are the wrong person for you. I don't care how attractive they are. I don't care how much money they've got. I don't care how powerful or successful they are. You will be miserable. You will be les miserables if you decide that this is the person for you, because they've already told you within maybe the first 3 dates, or maybe the first 3 minutes, or the first 3 sentences, who they are, what they love. And if you try to twist yourself to being the thing for them, because trust me, I've tried to do that. Producer Eric, have you ever tried to do that?
Oh, I 100% try to do that.
We all have. So my advice is be as painfully honest as you can be. Tactful. Let's not be blunt. Let's not be cruel. But be as painfully honest as you can possibly be. And if you hear something coming back at you, I don't care if you're 18 or 50. If you hear it coming back at you, you know, because we all know in the pit of our stomach, our guts will never steer us wrong, ever. Yeah. And you're in for misery. You are in for absolute 100% misery if you stick around, because they're not going to change unless they want to. And that's 1 in 5 billion. So they're not going to change. And if you start changing for them, you will be resentful, miserable, and you'll start drinking. Possibly. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
It's
100%.
it's going to be all. Yeah. So tell your niece to try and figure out as many boundaries as she possibly can, and then be as honest, painfully honest as she can be, and understand the signs and signals. Understand the signs and signals, and to listen to her intestines. They will not steer her wrong. Her gut will not steer her wrong. It just won't. It just won't. But also, don't make yourself over for anybody else, and don't ask them to make themselves over for you.
Because, I think no true thing.
Yeah, no true thing. And if it's not working after the third date, leave. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what? She shouldn't be having sex anyway. But if she is.
Well,
Stop that.
No, but I think that's an interesting question.
Not until
like,
marriage.
No.
Anyway, but
she's not Mormon.
Right. Here's the thing. No sex is ever that great. The money, you can make your own money. You can be as powerful as you want. You don't need anybody else to give you those things. And there are coming up on 8 billion people on this planet. If this is not the person for you, trust me, the next one's coming along. They are.
Exactly.
Right. And you get like, at least 3 or 4 soulmates in your lifetime. You don't just get one. You get like 3 or 4. That's what I think.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. That's what I think.
I think you're right.
It's hard won. That is so hard won. That will say wisdom, will say knowledge, will say perspective. It's incredibly hard won. For anyone who's been out there on the dating scene. So when you get back out there, 15, well, not 15, I was 15 or 50, 18, that's a good age. 18 or 50 or anything in between, or anything older. Know your boundaries. Know your boundaries and be honest.
I could not agree more with that. I think that's really good advice. So the other thing is like really thinking about like, this is not reflective of anyone, but just maybe this is too personal. You can tell me it's too personal because I reflect on my own self. Like, do you feel like you were ready for your first intimate encounter?
Are you kidding? No way. No way. No, of course not. Of course not. Now, having said, I mean, looking back on it, no.
Yeah.
But I had precious little guidance, to be perfectly honest with you, from the parental units. Precious little. And yet, was that part and parcel of making me who I am today?
Yeah.
Allowing me to understand what boundaries are, what honesty, how it's so necessary. Yes, of course. So I wasn't ready for it, but I'm so glad I had it.
Yeah.
After much self-reflection.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I do that too, because it's like, when is the right time? It's like, it's always such a hard thing to navigate. Because I just think about like if I were to live my life over again, like what would I, do differently? And that's why it's so fascinating, to get to be someone's uncle and get to share and the new adventures and stuff like that.
Right.
But but I think back, like geez, like I don't know when something's right and I don't know when something's wrong, but I agree with you. I think knowing your boundaries.
Or we have a better shot.
Yes.
At understanding when it's right or wrong. Listen, my nephews, all 4 of my nephews, please, they're gonna run the world. So Auntie Carolyn can't do anything for them. Like, here's a gift card for your birthday. Oh, are you off with your friends? Okay, bye. God bless them. I love them to death. But it's like they're not gonna listen to me. They're not gonna listen at all.
No, but as I was thinking, is like I just think it's interesting to kind of reflect back on, if I could do life over again, because it's like, geez, when I was 18, I was graduating from high school in Idaho, getting ready to be a missionary. Right. And I'm so pleased that these girls get something different, than
Now, if you could, again, so we're kind of
Yeah.
going back to a life conversation, but it's enveloped in love. So if you could go back and live your life over again solely from the perspective of your loves, of your romantic entanglements, would you, or would you say, nope, can't do it? I would have to do that all the same to become the person that I am.
I would have to do it all the same to find V2, my husband.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right.
And so it has to be that way. And unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately,
Yeah. And I'm still living with the ghosts of only two, really, like two past loves.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, you know what? The fire was just too hot this time around. We're gonna see how they come into my life next time, because I'm a firm believer in next time.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
But
so
life happened the way it happened.
Has to.
But I do agree. It's better to have loved and lost than to do never loved at all.
That's very true. That's very true. I believe that is that Shakespeare? Is that Wordsworth? Is that? Who knows? Look it up. Let's look it up. The first one to go on the first one to say who said it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Anyone who the first comment. And do we have our site page up yet? That's coming.
No, not yet. So everyone can
we'll do it on Facebook.
Yeah, do it on Facebook, and then we're gonna add this to your website, so that in the future people can.
First one who does that gets a shout out.
Yes.
First one who does it gets a shout out in the next episode. So there you go.
Yes.
But we're actually the site is coming. The page is coming where you will be able to questions and comments. What would you like to see? What would you like to hear me talk about? And whatever other fun things we can find for you guys. So conservation Eric, now conservation producer Eric, what are we talking about today?
Yes. I think what I want to talk about is a little bit about basically conservation during conflict, and we're going to have some more guests on and some more experts. So there's some of the world's best conservation folk that I'm lining up to be on the show. But Gray was obviously such an amazing.
But you're an expert, and so I love my guests. I absolutely love them. But
actually,
we don't need them.
Actually, you know what? We'll actually save conflict for maybe another episode. I think what I'd like to talk about is the Manila Zoo, in all honesty, and what is going on at the Manila Zoo.
In the Manila Zoo?
Yeah.
All right. So, fill us in.
Yeah. So way back in 2017, I went to Manila to build a call center, funny enough. And so Vita, my husband and I, we went down there, and being the fact that I wasn't busy enough building a call center, I had to get involved in conservation work too, because that's what I am obviously passionate about.
You can't not get involved in conservation work where you are. It's physically impossible.
Well, just like last year when Seattle had its 115-degree day, I took the day off and I went to the tide pools and I threw starfish back into the ocean all day because they were all gonna die if they. Anyways, so anyway, you just can't. That's the thing is when you're passionate about conservation, you just naturally end up doing stuff, Yeah. And so I went to the Manila Zoo, and PETA had actually been on this massive attack at the Manila Zoo, where they wanted to close it, they wanted to ship all the animals to sanctuaries or whatever. And I was like, well, obviously, you and I having the relationship that we've had with zoos and with PETA, I was like, well, I don't believe them, so let me go check it out. So I go to the Manila Zoo. And when I went there, surface level, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a really old zoo. And these are really gross old habitats.
Right. Bad. Yeah.
And but the thing I noticed though, while again, without making judgments and just observing, because I spent the whole day there really genuinely observing, was that the zookeepers there genuinely attended, loved, and cared for those animals. And so then I started talking to some, and I had some conversations. And what I learned in my conversations that day was a lot of these zookeepers are third generation, where their grandfathers opened the zoo. Their fathers or mothers worked in the zoo after that, and now they are working in the zoos. And to them, these animals are their family. They are closer to these animals than any other human being that they're close to. Like Bertha, who was the world's oldest hippo, was 64 years old. So the zookeepers took care of Bertha like that was their grandma. She raised them. They were babies when she was, they were babies, and she raised them in a sense. And so I was like, these zookeepers genuinely love these animals. And so then I found out that there was a group of people who were trying to help save the Manila Zoo called Zoo Crew Philippines. And so I was like, okay, let me see what I can do, and so I joined Zoo Crew, and a passionate group of people who really just wanted to help the zoo. And what we worked with the zoo was we designed enrichment programs. So the zookeepers had very limited resources, but the zoo was willing to let us kind of come in as volunteers and develop enrichment and treats and other stuff for the animals. And so what ended up happening is we ended up building this amazing volunteer group to like 50 people. Now I think it's like over 200 people. And during the process, because everyone became so enrolled and passionate about the zoo, we ended up basically kind of kicking PETA to the curb a little bit in the Philippines. And eventually the Philippines, the Manila mayor, the one that was kind of siding with PETA, ended up losing the election, I think. And a new mayor came in, and the new mayor actually started volunteering with the Zoo Crew and seeing what the zoo needed and stuff like that, to where he actually secured funding for the zoo, where right now the zoo is being completely rebuilt from the ground up, and it's going to be one of the best zoos in Southeast Asia.
Love
and
it.
It's going to have a rescue center, and it's going to be a place, because the thing is children in Manila, Manila's a big city. It's like Miami and New York had a baby on top of LA with 1950s freeways. It's a massive city, and it's full of amazing people who really love, their wildlife. But the thing is if you are a child growing up in Manila, it can be hard to have any green spaces where you can connect with nature and understand.
Right.
And the Manila Zoo is an oasis in a concrete jungle that provides direct connection to nature. And now it's going to be even better. They hired an amazing Filipino design firm that designed it, and it's going to be this beautiful facility that, again, is going to be top notch. It's going to be world class. It should be done early next year, I think. And so Molly, the elephant, who PETA called the world's loneliest elephant, her habitat's being expanded 4 times the size. It's so big now that they'll be able to take in some more orphaned elephants from Sri Lanka, and so she's going to end up having, a herd.
So were they actually able to expand the footprint of the zoo? Was there?
No, they're taking the parking lot.
They're taking the parking lot.
So people can park elsewhere. So
Sure.
But Molly gets 4 times the space now.
Fantastic.
So it's absolutely incredible. And she has a large barn, and she has a whole bunch of amazing new enrichment. But the exciting thing is that, knock on wood, she'll get some additional orphan elephants who need homes from Sri Lanka that will come, and then she'll have a nice herd. But she's 44, and she is probably the sweetest elephant I think I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah, she's someone who genuinely loves people. Like when I was in Odessa and I volunteered at the Odessa Zoo, and I dug their elephant a pool. That elephant hated people. Like if you would have gotten near that elephant, it would have been game over, kind of thing. He would throw rocks and potatoes at me while I was digging his pool, and if he couldn't reach me, he'd throw rocks and potatoes on my backpack. And so that elephant, mean old guy. But Molly, sweetest temperament of any elephant.
Well, listen, Doug the elephant. It's entirely possible that he had been mishandled early in his life and had a serious, because elephants want to love us. They love us. They don't. Yes. They look at us like puppies, right? Yes. And they want to love us until we fuck with them. Yes. And then they learn and they don't forget. But you can actually get an elephant back. You can bring an elephant back from
the Point Defiance Zoo in Tacoma is a great example of that. They have an elderly elephant. She's in her 60s, I believe. She killed 2 men over her time. She has an all-female staff that takes care of her, and she loves it. She will not deal with men. But
Listen, good for her. I support that.
she but and she is without incident at the Tacoma Zoo because she has a staff that loves, cares for her, and has provided an enriching life. So but that's always like, anyways.
Let's go back to the success of the Manila Zoo and the success story that it is, because what I'm hearing is you, producer conservationist Eric, were a tremendous part in turning it around and letting them see with this volunteer crew coming in and hiding the treats and establishing the enrichment programs. You were instrumental in turning the perspective around.
Yeah, it's just giving everyone the tools, giving them the tools to do it. Because one of the big things is, like I loved, obviously, I could not be prouder of all the work they're doing, because I was only in the Philippines for a short time, and I'm just proud of everyone who stuck with it, and the fact that they've defended the zoo to a point where it's going to get rebuilt. And again, Carolyn, I'll show you the art sometime, but you and I will have to go when it reopens, because
let's go for the grand opening,
because it's going to be absolutely amazing. Like,
okay, all right. You have connections there?
Yeah. Of course
you do. That was a foolish question. That was just dumb.
No, but it's gonna be so much fun though, and that's what I can't wait for the children of the Philippines to grow up with this brand new modern zoo. But then again, it has a wildlife rescue hospital as part of it now, so that's what
it does. Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
fantastic.
So
maybe we can get someone on from the Manila Zoo.
Oh yeah, no, we can definitely do that. I'll get someone on. Maybe I'll get Jerry or Buddy or someone, one of Molly's trainers. So, but amazing people. I could not be more proud of all the work they do. But
excellent.
The lesson story is, if I had gone and just looked at the facilities, I would have been like, and I would have just added to the hashtag close the zoo, But it was getting enrolled, getting involved, and caring about the welfare of those animals that's going to change everyone's lives for the better.
Nothing is irretrievable. Nothing is completely irreparable. I mean, you can make a difference. That's why I say to everybody who's watching this, do it and tell your friends to do it. Go to your local zoo.
Yeah.
And if you have questions, why is this meerkat exhibit like this? Shouldn't it be expanded, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Find a trainer, find a keeper, find a staff person, and say, I have questions.
Yeah.
I want to know about this and this and this and this. So you're going to be part of my research, zoo employee. You're going to be part of my research, and because I want to know what I'm looking at and why I'm looking at it. And if you doesn't measure up, or if you don't like the answer, dig deeper. And then if you see something that's really heinous, write a letter to the curator or director of the zoo and say, I am one of the public, and if I'm seeing this, other people are seeing this.
Yes.
So change it. Also, write a letter and say, bravo you for this or that or this or that, because trust me, zoos, they get trapped upon a great deal. And so when they are doing things right, and most modern zoos and aquariums are doing it correctly, and they need to know that the public, not just the animals, but that the public is appreciating their efforts on behalf of the animals. So let them know the positive, absolutely. Let them know the negative. And if their answer makes sense, take it, accept it, because you'll know, again, it's all, your gut will never steer you wrong. Will never steer you wrong. And as just like the keepers and the trainers in the Philippines who love these animals, third generation, listen, at my Los Angeles Zoo and the zoos that I have visited, the aquariums that I visited, trust me, folks, they're not doing it for the money. They do it because they love animals. They truly love animals, and they want to save species. So that is that's a wrap on this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you tune in for the next episode of Life, Love, and Conservation. Producer Eric, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
I do not have a conservation tip for. I just spaced. People, I just spaced. Eric, do you have a conservation tip? Something that they can walk away with and put into action this week? I know I'm putting you on the spot. Oops.
Yeah, shop local as much as you can.
Shop
Try to shop.
local. There you go. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Shop local. And I'll add on that, even if it's not local, shop USA.
Yes.
Go
You know,
USA.
it is funny. Living in Seattle, shopping local means shopping Amazon and Starbucks. So, no.
Did I just receive an Amazon package today?
Yeah.
Okay, but I usually do shop local.
No, yes, shop local.
I usually do. All right. Thank you, producer Eric, for everything that you do. Thank you, Univera, for continuing to sponsor this program. Check out www.univera.com. Check out all of their fine aloe vera based products. It's like pure aloe vera. And believe me, this digestive stuff, oh, trust me, this good stuff, really good stuff. And if I'm looking good, it's because of Univera. So check them out. Thanks again for sponsoring. And we will see you on the next episode of Life, Love, and Conservation. Comments and questions. Go to the Facebook page. See you then. Bye.